record. I don't know who you take out though.
That was a big record.
I might be a hater
who
and
do you
take out
swap
Bieber.
out, though?
I might
Wait,
swap
who
out
you take
Bieber.
out?
That Bieber album was tough, yo.
I might swap out Bieber.
UConn was good though.
I guess.
UConn fire.
Yeah, okay. I burn.
You gonna swap Bieber out?
Kehlani's winning. Folded.
You never gonna beat these Canadian allegations.
I ain't even.
Now I feel like it's a good time for us to talk about the Grammy nominations for the 2026 Grammys. That came out a little while ago. A lot of conversation around that, particularly around Album of the Year. I'm just gonna read the nominees so we remember that. So we have Bad Bunny on there. We have Justin Bieber with Swag. We have Clipse with Let God Sort 'Em Out. Lady Gaga with Mayhem. Sabrina Carpenter, Man's Best Friend. GNX, Kendrick Lamar. Mutt, Leon Thomas. Chromacopia, Tyler, the Creator. I will start this with Rob. Like, who do you predict will win Album of the Year, and who do you want to win Album of the Year?
I'll start with who I want, if that's okay. I would like to see GNX win that award. Just classic album, fantastic album. And I think it has a very good chance. Bad Bunny gonna be tough to beat too. I think just the global appeal of that. So for me in that category, it boils down to those two. My want is Kendrick and GNX. I think Bad Bunny has a super shot. And I wouldn't be mad at either. Like, Bad Bunny put out a fantastic album. So
I think I got 4 albums in there that I really wouldn't be mad at. Tyler could win. Kendrick could win. Clipse could win.
Sabrina
Bad Bunny
Carpenter.
could win.
No, I'm fucking with you.
I didn't listen to Sabrina Carpenter.
I ain't gonna mad. Short and Sweet was better than Man's Best Friend to me. So Sabrina kind of backslid to me. Yeah, I listened to Sabrina Carpenter too.
I guess I'll root
really
for Bad
like
Bunny.
that album.
I'll root for Bad Bunny.
Who do you predict will win though?
It gets tricky, yo, because they'll pull out the jazz album that you didn't even name on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Kendrick wins it, though. I wouldn't be surprised.
I would love for Kendrick to win, and I do think Kendrick is gonna win. And I think Kendrick would win for GNX because he's won Grammys in the past. There's something about the Recording Academy that's very antiquated, which is not a great thing, but they have a tried and true system. So voters tend to vote for what's familiar, and I know that internally. And Kendrick has won Grammys in the past, and I feel like he had a monumental year, monumental album. So I do think he might win Album of the Year.
Yeah, careful, I'm a voter, so I thought you were going to call me antiquated for a minute.
I think it was a great thing that we have like 3 hip-hop albums in here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
sure.
Album of the Year,
Album of the
it's
Year,
crazy.
which
And
amazing.
all deserving,
crazy.
like all fantastic albums. I'm with
Facts.
Parks. I wouldn't be mad. I mean, Clipse win, that'd be amazing.
That would be amazing.
Chromacopia
If Chromacopia wins,
amazing.
that'd be amazing. You know what I'm
I would
saying?
love
Like,
if the Clipse won,
Yeah.
but I do think Kendrick is gonna win.
Yeah.
I think GNX is gonna win Album of the Year, but I got Clipse winning Rap Album of the Year.
That's how I would
Yeah,
like it to
that's
go,
the same
too.
way I see it.
Spread it out. You know what I'm saying?
let me. I said that. Also, we didn't get too much into the toxic fandom and fan bases, but I had said that on my YouTube. I said I would love for Kendrick to win Album of the Year and Clipse to win Rap Album of the Year. And a portion of the Kendrick fans online came for me.
I saw that.
Like, and I'm like, and nobody stepped on my size 10s yet. So I'm like Denzel at the end of training day, man. I put cases on all you bitches. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nah, man, it's just hip hop, man. We having fun, man. We can celebrate multiple
It's not even a
things.
nonsensical thing to say.
At all.
Yeah,
It's
of
just very
course.
grounded.
I mean, it is if you look at art through a singular lens.
If you have sense.
Of one artist, yeah.
I personally feel like Clipse winning the Rap Album of the Year is a great precedent just because of everything they represent at this very moment for hip-hop. But at the same time, it'll be great to see a rap album win Album of the Year.
Yeah.
I can't remember when last that was the case.
Lauryn
Lauryn
was it
Hill.
Lauryn Hill?
Lauryn
And
Outkast, maybe?
Outkast.
Outkast.
Yeah, that's
What's
been
Outkast.
more than 20 years.
And even if you look at it, it's not to take nothing away from Outkast, because Outkast is hip hop, rap, 2 of the most elite MCs that we've ever had. The Love Below was a lot of funk,
Yeah.
a lot of R&B, a lot of soft. You know what I'm saying? It crossed
For sure.
genre.
Same thing with the Miseducation.
Same thing with
Award.
Miseducation,
Yeah.
and if the Clipse can win album of the year, like to me that's a pure rap album. I think GNX is like a pure
rap
Pure.
For sure.
rap
Yeah.
album.
For sure.
Chromacopia,
Even Chromacopia.
pure rap album.
For sure.
So I think we have some dope representation this year.
Yeah, I love
Do you
it.
think that? Do y'all think that people are just automatically counting everybody else that's nominated for album of the year out? Because it's like hip hop is gonna win album of the year this year.
I don't assume.
We don't know that,
You
though.
can never tell with
don't
the
know.
Grammys.
Can never
to be
tell.
honest.
Because
You can
I
never
do agree
tell.
with Parks. The reason I asked that, I agree with Parks. To my humble opinion, I think Bad Bunny's the only one who stands a chance against hip hop this year.
Yeah.
For
But
album
he's
of
a
the year.
rapper.
I'm talking about. You're right. He's a
Yeah.
rapper.
And yeah, that's
he
like
is a rapper.
reggaeton is like the cousin of
He
like we
makes
should
urbano music.
celebrate that as a win within hip hop culture as well.
I would be super like Bad Bunny will be deserving. Like I don't see. The one thing that maybe we haven't talked about is, listen, man, the Grammy is an award that's voted on by the
Yeah.
Academy, and when you have votes, you have campaigning.
Yes.
Clipse have been out here campaigning.
They have.
Like making sure
You know what? You got a point with
they're
that.
present. They're doing shows. They're doing interviews. They're actively saying we want this Grammy. Bad Bunny tour. Now he has the Super Bowl. Bad Bunny, since dropping the album, is very present.
For sure.
And doing interviews. He did the Amazon live stream, which kind of brought the residency to the world. And, you know, the one thing I will say about Kendrick, and this doesn't mean that he's not deserving, but there's not a lot of campaigning going on. It's not
agree.
Kendrick and PG Lang and Dave is like, hey, we're dropping the album, we're hitting our tour, we're serving the fans, and I think the chips will fall where they're made, but they're not
Yeah.
like going after
Going
it.
for it.
They're just doing what they do, and we'll live with the result.
I will say this too, as much as I love GNX and I love it, I tweeted at the time that it might be Kendrick's best album. If it didn't win, I wouldn't be that disappointed just because he won so much last year and his one.
No.
I don't know how to feel about that
No.
sentiment though,
Hey, it's all right.
because I feel like a lot of people say that like, oh, you're win. I feel like even with Beyonce, that's something we've heard over and over again. Like, oh, she's won this many Grammys, so you know, even if she doesn't win, I'm cool with that. I think my only thing, I agree with what Rob just said, is that I haven't really seen campaigning from Kendrick.
Yeah.
Some people might argue that he doesn't need to campaign. I don't know.
He's reached that level where he's an artist who doesn't need to campaign. He's won Grammys in the past. The Recording Academy recognizes him. The voters consistently recognize him. Beyonce is another artist who does not need to campaign. She doesn't campaign. But these artists can still win without campaigning. Not every artist can do that.
Well, and I think, again, it boils down to the confidence that they have in their art and putting it out and a well thought out plan on how to roll out whatever album project. Beyonce is like that, Kendrick is like that. And then living with the results. Like, okay, we're not gonna do the extra thing, but I'm not mad at you know, Pusha said, no, we want the Grammy.
Facts.
I'm not gonna sit here and act like I don't want the Grammy.
I love that he was honest about
I
it.
like that actually.
I'm fine with that.
I love that he's honest about that because people feel that there's always this sentiment of if we do not win, we being people within the hip hop community, black people, black artists of any genre, if we're not recognized by these prestigious institutions, we need to make our own without understanding that these institutions have material consequences on an artist's career from top to bottom, whether you win or lose. So for an artist to understand that and for their teams to understand that, it's super important to be recognized by these institutions, whether you agree with them as institutions or not, is a part of the music ecosystem. So for Pusha T to say he really wants that Grammy, I think he's being way more honest than a lot of other artists.
Yeah. Because you don't want to live with the disappointment or you know, it kind of, but I'll say this, right? And We Decide was dope. Only one can win, right? The unfortunate
Only
thing
one.
is only one can win that award. Well, they've had ties in the past. I think the Grammy,
Really?
there is like a history of tying in the category. I don't think it's going to happen in the Album of the Year category. Like one will win. But there's no shame in not, far be it from me to tell anybody how to feel, but we've already dictated that the Clipse gave us a classic album in 2025. We dictated that GNX is a classic. We dictated that with Chromacopia, he gave us a masterpiece, that Bad Bunny is redefining lines. So, yes, win the award, but if not, it doesn't diminish what any of these artists have done. They created amazing bodies of work.
I also want to clarify too, with the Grammy board and seeking recognition, the Grammy board is increasingly getting more and more hip hop, because to get on the Grammy board, you have to be nominated, participate in a Grammy nominated project, like such as myself. So there's plenty of people who can vote within hip hop and change these narratives. It's just a matter of do they or don't they?
And they've gotten better through
They
the
have.
years because the Grammys and hip hop have had a very contentious relationship from 1988, the first award,
was
and
not
it not being
televised.
televised, and hip hop boycotting and saying, no, we're gonna go do Yo MTV Raps instead. You know what I'm saying? Or from DMX saying, from Jay-Z saying, well, if DMX isn't nominated, I'm not going to the Grammys. So there's been moments when hip hop has very much been at odds with the Grammys, but they've gotten better over the years, and I think the representation has gotten.
Well, for sure, because again, if to get on the board, you got to be nominated. So in 1988, there's probably not too many people from hip hop even available to vote.
Yeah.
Whereas now we've got 20, 30, 40 years or whatever. I just encourage anybody who can vote to go out and vote. That's it. That's how we change that narrative.
Vote or die.
Yeah.
I also think it's really impressive, just hip hop aside, that Leon Thomas is on here for Album of the Year, and he's Best New Artist as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's happened before.
Album of the Year is
Also nominated for Best New Artist. I feel like that's very unique.
Yeah, I agree. And he's deserving. My album was incredible, and he's worked tirelessly. He deserves wins in both categories, although there's a lot of talented people in both of these categories.
And Leon, while a new artist, I think in the grand scheme of things, he's a young OG, a veteran. I mean, he's been in this since he was a kid.
Right.
Like he has put his 10,000 hours in. He crafted his craft. I mean, he already is a Grammy winner. He produced on Snooze for SZA. You know what I'm saying? Like Leon, he got it. He's primed for a big year, man. I think it's amazing.
He's gonna be here for a while too.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. So for Best Rap Album, we have the 3 albums we already talked about, and then we have God Does Like Ugly by JID, and then Glorious by Glorilla. Everyone has already kind of said, it's between the 3, but for the other 2 albums, do you think they have a chance of winning in that category? That's JID and Glorilla.
JID's album was incredible. Gloria's album's really good too, actually. Glorilla. I think it's gonna be tough unseating those top 3. But I wouldn't say there's no chance.
Anything could happen.
I wouldn't say it's no chance, but I really enjoyed that Glorilla album.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it could happen, and maybe Parks, you might know better, but you could get into this situation where Clipse and Kendrick, who are the 2 favorites in that category, almost split the vote. And then if there's a third one that kind of
that's possible.
You know what I'm saying? Like
that's
something can kind of sneak in there. I'm not 100%
So if that
sure how it works.
happens, then if the vote is split, then what happens?
No, he's saying if the vote is split and then Glorilla gets more votes, because the Kendrick vote and the Clipse vote are so split down the middle, the Glorilla minute creeps up. Is what he said.
Yeah. But I don't know, but I think it's between Clipse and GNX. But I really believe Chance the Rapper should have got a nomination for Starline in this category.
Somewhere, and I voted for him. That album was too good to not get some recognition somewhere.
Yeah.
I voted for him specifically in rap performance for Letters, I believe.
Okay.
Because I felt like that was a place where maybe he could get one off.
Yeah. I never heard, kudos to you, I didn't know if you were allowed to say what you voted for.
Oh, maybe
I never hear anybody on the committee being like, I voted this way, or here's what I'm thinking. So
maybe
thank you
I've
for
heard it
that.
a few
Oh,
times.
okay.
And maybe they'll take away my voting rights, but whatever. It's for the content, right?
But now that we're already
Spoken like
here,
a true JBPer.
Right.
It's for the content. We're potting.
now that we're already here talking about who we think should have made it on there, I want to go into that. Maybe y'all might disagree with me, but I feel like Playboi Carti's music deserved a nomination. I know a lot of people feel a type of way about that side of hip hop, but the impact and just the notoriety, I feel like it deserved to be on here.
I'm not mad at that take. I'm not a Playboy Cardi expert, so I'll let someone else who is take that one away.
He has a cult following.
For sure.
There is a subsect of a younger generation of rap artists who model their music after him.
It's almost like heavy metal hip hop or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
like
how
kind
rock
of
got
a way to
splintered
put
up.
But this album, this music album was a little more traditional hip hop. A Whole Lot of Red for me was like very much like Whole Lot of Red was for the first time where I'm like, yo, I might be too old for this shit. like if I'm being honest, and that's a me problem, right?
Yeah.
And I had to call my nephew up, like, bro, can you break this down for me? And I feel like the music album was something more palatable or something rooted more in traditional hip hop.
Agreed.
And I thought it was a good album. I think he deserved a nomination as well. Look, I think for us to be healthy and important. Look, man. Again, I'm 45 years old. Yes, I'm a fan of the veterans. We need to create space for younger artists too, and not just. I'm not saying just participation trophies. Cardi worked for that. I could see a world where it would have been nice also to have somebody like Cardi represented in this field, because now we're talking about hip hop as a whole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sonically, it would be very holistic to nominate Cardi. I'm not too old for his music. It's just not my preference.
Yeah.
But I understand the impact, and I could do that, objectively. But it would have been nice. But I do think there's still younger people who are nominated, Glorilla and JID.
Yeah, like Glorilla ain't like old. Glorilla
Yeah.
definitely represents
she's
the
for
young
sure.
generation.
Yeah, definitely.
I think she's still in her 20s.
It's just the sonics of it.
Glow is big
Cardi
sis,
is
too.
Playboy Cardi is a different rap
Different, yeah.
style.
Yeah.
But I didn't even think about his album for a nomination. But that's another thing. There's a lot of music I'm not thinking about.
Which, we make it to the point with hip hop where it's divided up the same way rock is, which is maybe good or maybe bad.
Same way R&B, they have this new category where it's like progressive
Progressive
R&B
R&B.
album
Right.
and then traditional.
I mean, there's been a lot of talk. I've seen Ninth Wonder talk about it a lot, like the need or the possibility of having adult contemporary hip hop category, and especially this was last year. Like Common and Pete Rock were nominated.
Yeah.
Like
I hate that title.
The genre, maybe there's a better title, but
Traditional or something, I don't know.
but the genre has grown
Yeah.
so much that it is hard to narrow down and say these five. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're primed for some expansion in the hip hop category to get more people included and nominated.
Which we've done with there's melodic hip hop, which is
Yeah.
one layer, but maybe they need to break it out.
I think it'll happen
Yeah, I
because
think so,
there's
too.
precedent for them expanding the world music category.
Right.
Remember that? I remember I wrote an article criticizing the Recording Academy for looping all these different types of artists into this category.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but the former music manager of that category told me he read the article that I wrote, presented it, and it was instrumental in them changing that category.
Oh, congrats.
So now they have an African music category. I don't even remember the title of it. I think they have two new titles. They
have
changed the
one
global
for
music.
performance and then
Yes.
one for the album.
They changed the world music category after that article, and then they expanded to include a category specific to African artists. So I think there's precedent of them expanding based on how a genre is expanding.
sure.
I definitely think they will start including, more avenues for different types of rap music to be recognized.
But you see, kids, great journalism works. Ivie Ani, everybody. Yeah.
Right.
That's amazing. Affecting change.
Okay, apart from that, I want to hear from y'all who you think generally, not just in the rap or R&B categories, who do you feel was snubbed? Because a lot of people always talk about Grammy snubs. I personally feel, just starting it out, it baffles me that The Weeknd just never gets any nominations on there. But
That
that's
baffles
mine.
you?
After what happened last year, I thought something would be different because I think they brought him on stage. There was an official apology of some sort, so it baffles me.
Yeah.
I got two. Alchemist should have been on there. He went crazy this year.
In which category?
Producer of the year,
Producer,
which
yeah.
is a category. And Jack
He wasn't
Antonoff
on
was
there?
mind-blowingly not on this list. He did Sabrina Carpenter, Taylor Swift, GNX.
GNX.
Like, how is he not in the Producer of the Year category? It's crazy.
Jack Antonoff is fucking
Hey, who's
great.
nominated
He's
then?
different. Huh?
Who's nominated in that category?
I think Soundwave is.
Soundwave.
I forget
Okay,
who else
okay.
is in there. I don't want to like forget anybody, but I'm
That's crazy though.
rooting for Soundwave.
I think Jessie Reyes, Paid in Memory. I love that album. That's
a
one of
good
my
album.
favorite albums of the year. Jessie Reyes, Paid in Memories, I thought deserved a nomination in the progressive R&B because she does kind of teeter like in and out and maybe stretch the boundaries, but you know she fits right in with an artist like Duran Bernard is nominated in that category. And he's amazing, and I think he kind of stretches boundaries as well. But I think to me, you know, I had said Chance in the rap category. I'm not mad at your Playboy Cardi take. And then outside of that, I feel like Jessie Reyes was a big oversight, man. I thought Paid in Memories is an amazing album.
Yeah.
There has been a little bit of controversy over this snub. Moliy and Silent Addy, Shake It to the Max, was not nominated.
Really?
Yes, it was not
That's very
nominated.
shocking.
That's a bop.
Featuring Shinsia and Skillabang. It wasn't nominated because it's technically a remix, and remixes do not qualify. But there was controversy because someone who worked at the Recording Academy came forward and said that he believes he was fired for making that call to not nominate the record despite it not fitting the stipulations of the Recording Academy.
They should fix that. Remixes have been a part of
Music.
Yeah.
music for
Forever.
decades at this point. Like that should be.
Yes.
You should be able to put a remix. in
But
there.
I think because of this, they might change it moving forward
should.
because I do think that record, beyond going viral, you go outside and you hear Shake It to the Max
Time for
globally.
some more journalism.
Yeah, but like because Leon Thomas Mutt was nominated, but the NPR version of the record,
that was weird.
which to me, which is great. Again, a great version.
great, but-
But kind of serves is similar to a remix, right? It's an alternate version of what it is.
right.
So
I don't know.
It seems like the system is not perfect.
For sure.
But hopefully this inspires change for them to
The
maybe
rules
fix
are
something like that.
malleable. I feel like something will change, but that was just an interesting snub for me.
Just very curious to get the insider perspective because Raven Lenae is another person that people have talked about being snubbed.
Yes.
But people also, when you talk about that, people say the artist didn't submit or the deadline. How was that on the inside?
The deadline is important because, again, we're talking about the calendar year of 2025, but I believe you have from November of
It's September to September, I think,
of the year
essentially.
prior where you can qualify for submitting. So I think that's something that the public doesn't really understand because there's so many technicalities as far as different award show stipulations.
Yeah, it's a three-part process, right? So you got to submit first, and then the first round you pick as a voter. You can vote in three categories. For me, I think I picked hip hop and pop and R&B, and then in those categories, it's like 500 entries for each thing, which you go through, and then we get to the nominations, and then you vote on that. So it's a three-part process, and it's a lot, but it is incumbent on the artist and their teams, labels, etc., to make sure that they're included in the initial stage of
And that's what
nomination.
the campaign. And look, right, the voters are human, right? So I can't assume, and Parks, you don't have to answer this, but 500 submissions, like, who has really listened to all 500?
Yeah.
You go with the familiarity, the things that impacted your year, the things that you have seen throughout the year, and then you might go click in on some and be like, let me revisit this and see how I
sure.
feel about this. But 500 is a
500 is a
500 to whittle down to like 5 nominations
For
and
each
6
category,
nominations in
mind
the
you.
category is a monumental
a
task.
lot.
Yeah, and they give you like links within the voting thing, so it kind of helps, but it's too
still
much.
500
It's still too
songs.
much. Yeah, it's too much. Or 500 albums, or 500 new art. Yeah, like it's crazy.
So you didn't even listen to my submission. Like, you didn't-
Nah, I didn't know that. dog.
Nah. You know what? I didn't even get to that
Don't
one.
leave me. Don't leave me.
My bad, dog. My bad.
I think another category that a lot of people have said is stacked is the best R&B performance category. Leon Thomas's Mutt is nominated, folded by Kalani. Summer Walker, Heart of a Woman. Then you have Chris Brown featuring Bryson Tiller on It Depends, and Justin Bieber.
Which one? UConn?
Yeah.
Kehlani's
Kehlani's taking that.
You know who got snubbed in that too? Now that you say that, Mariah the Scientist, Burning Blue.
Burning Blue.
Oh yeah, that was a
That was a big
song.
record,
Big
though.
record. I don't know who you take out
That was
though.
a big record.
Yeah,
I might be a hater
Yeah, who
and
do
take
you
out
swap
Bieber.
out, though?
I might
Wait,
swap
who
out
you take
Bieber.
out?
That Bieber album was tough, yo.
I might swap out Bieber.
UConn was good though.
I guess.
UConn fire.
Yeah, okay. I burn.
You gonna swap Bieber out?
Kehlani's winning. Folded.
You never
Kehlani's
gonna
winning.
beat these Canadian allegations, bro.
I ain't even. I forgot. Bro was Canadian. I just remember him doing. I just remember him doing push-ups in LA.
Oh yeah, he was in Watts.
I forgot he was Canadian.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it might not be that like an easy shoe-in for Kehlani. I feel like Mutt is really strong.
Mutt agreed.
Mutt
But
was
it's the
really
NPR
strong.
one, right?
Yeah.
Yes, the NPR.
But I think when people vote,
They
they're
just see
gonna
the
vote off of the
song, yeah.
recognition
For sure.
of
Yeah.
Mutt. So Mutt is strong, but Heart of a Woman, man, like that.
Those are
when
all
you just
great
talk about traditional art, like Heart of a Woman is like all the young fans love Summer Walker, and then my mother loves that song because it strikes a chord of the R&B that she was raised on and grew up on. So that's a tough category.
It is.
Okay.
I like Kehlani for that though.
Yeah, me too. That record was just kind of
All the singers
inescapable.
love Folded because it becomes study material for vocalists.
Yeah. But then Mutt too, man.
Mutt is crazy.
Mutt's such a great record.
That's my favorite.
I
too.
might have to go with Mutt. Mutt might actually, if I'm
Just
being
go
honest,
with
Mutt
Mutt.
has to be my favorite.
Say
It's
how
fun.
you feel.
Yeah,
I'm a dog.
we know.
All right now.
So I want to talk about artists to watch in 2026. We've already talked about our artists that had a breakout year, but I want to start with Ivie for this one. Who do you think is an artist that you're going into 2026 really paying attention to, that you feel will bring something new and exciting to the music space?
Moliy, 100%. Not even just off Shake It to the Max. I think people forget she wrote Sad Girls Love Money, that Amare record that was huge. And I just remember Moliy from the beginning. I was co-hosting a show in 2020, and I think it was with Genius. It was, Jack Morrell was hosting something called The Cosign while he was working at Genius. And I was the co-host, and people submitted their music, and I had to judge who was the winner, and I picked Moliy. Didn't know her from a hole in the wall. Nobody knew her. And her record was just that good, that it stood out from all these submissions. And from then on, she's always sent me her music, and I've just been tapped in. And to see her progress from that to this, it's a ridiculous jump from where she started. And I really feel like she's been putting in the work. She's an excellent songwriter as far as pop music is concerned, but I think the fact that she's from Ghana, she's African, people do not associate her with pop music, but she makes great Afro beats, Afro pop. And I think she has the ability to, transverse through different genres like she has shown on Shake It to the Max. And her songwriting just has a stickiness to it. Like she can write a hit record in her sleep if people pay attention. So I really feel like Moliy is someone to watch as far as the new generation, songwriting, and pop is concerned, pop, Afro pop. And, Bronx bias, Cash Cobain.
There you go.
Okay, I'm curious why you say that.
He has a formula that works.
Yeah, it's been bubbling too.
He's the
the
most
formula. He
copied artist in
produced-
NY ever.
He produced for who? Let's run through the list of who he's produced for recently. Cardi B,
For sure.
Drake,
For sure.
Justin Bieber.
Mariah Carey.
Cash Cobain has the formula, and if you have not been paying attention to New York drill, sexy drill, Bronx drill, you would think he came out of nowhere, but he is a pioneer.
Yeah.
And people don't see that. So I think he has a formula that works. I'm partial to it because that's the language I understand.
For sure.
And I really like his music. I can't lie.
How about you? Artists to watch?
Yeah, I know. I'm just. I always get in trouble for this because I don't say somebody, and Well, I think when we first started the conversation, I think Rob brought up Chike, and to me, I think Chike is poised for a great 2026. AZ Chike, just given his what he has to offer to the game and things that I know that he wants to accomplish, he takes it serious. And that's kind of what I look for. It's not really about, it is about talent. It is about talent. I don't want to make it sound like I'm being dismissive of what talent means, but it's also about your desire or willingness to be great or to be dope or to be amazing. And I look at artists who take that serious and take on the challenge of being uncomfortable, getting outside of their comfort zone, going to rehearsals, being punctual, like all those things matter I'm a spiritual person, so from an energetic perspective, I look at artists like who take those things serious, and I look at Chike as being very, he's setting himself up for a great run. I think I mentioned earlier his name is Tommy Zuko. I think he's setting himself up for a great 26. And then, I'm drawing a blank, but it's a couple more that I'm gonna say. Just give me a second. You can go, Parks.
We mentioned him earlier, Chris Patrick. I'm really just excited to see where he goes. He's got great momentum coming off the streaming freestyle and the content and videos he's been putting out since. I think he's maybe over at Def Jam. I saw some branding on something he's got coming up. So if that's the case, I'm really just excited to see where he goes. REVOLT, I'm curious to see how he follows up this growth that he had this year. I don't know if it's too early, but I really want to hear more Olivia Dean now.
Definitely not too early.
And I don't know if it's too much pressure, but I'm so excited by what Chance did this year. I would really like to see him keep the momentum going. I know he puts a lot into his project, so I'm not really expecting something from him next year, but if he can find a way to keep the momentum of even this project from this year going into 2026, I would like to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me to look out for in 2026, I think Marco Plus.
That's a good one.
An amazing lyricist. I love what Marco is doing and setting himself up for. Chris Patrick is another one. I want to see what happens with Alameda out of TDE. It's so funny what TDE led by Kendrick was the main flagship artist, and now he's with PG Lang. He's doing his own thing, and TDE has proven that they know how to break women in the industry. Like SZA, superstar status right now. Like Doechii.
She's right there.
And then Alameda is a whole different, like a rock lane. Like I'm really interested to see if they can really break into that and break her into that, especially being a black woman in rock. I think could and will speak volumes.
One artist I'm really looking forward to is Stove God Cooks.
Woo.
Really liked him on, I listen to a lot of West Side Gun, so he's always like a staple on there. But I feel like the general scene got a taste of who he was on FICO with Clipse, and I know he's had a little bit of issues with like a record deal and putting music out, but I feel like that is getting resolved, so I really want to hear that. Of course, Chris Patrick. There's this artist out of LA, his name is Mark Lux.
Mark Lux. I was about to say Mark.
Yeah, I really want to see what he has in store. I've heard some of his music that's upcoming, and I feel like it's going to be great. And also this artist called Odile. I feel like he's had a great
Odile's great.
year, and I just want to see what I feel like he could potentially have a Leon Thomas type breakout if timed properly, and he keeps putting in the work. So those are my artists to watch out for 2026.
Mark.
And Kai Cash too. Kai Cash.
Kai
man.
Cash,
Yo,
bro.
Kai Cash is nice, man. I'm also looking forward to see what Drake does. He had a rough 18 months. The stuff he's put out this year is kind of falling flat in my opinion. But he's one of the greatest recording artists we've ever seen, and I would be shocked to see if he didn't drop some heat.
I feel like Drake could bounce back. I still feel like he has that in him. It's just a matter of if he really wants to.
It feels like almost like a.
Well, he really wants to.
It almost feels like an unsure thing.
I feel like there's a point where if you want it so bad, then the audience can feel that. I don't want to say desperation, but like
hunger.
Not just hunger, but not in a positive way. It's like when you're just striving and you're throwing so many darts and nothing is just.
It's the uncertainty that I just mentioned. I feel like he's been uncertain for a while now, and again, he's one of the greatest artists we've ever seen commercially, artistically, all that stuff. It's time, bro. It's time.
Yeah.
Show up and do what we know that you can do. Like all this flack and criticism you've gotten for the past year and a half is just from not just locking in and doing what we know you can do.
Yeah.
It's time.
I think, in contrary to what people on the internet or what his fans may think, that I'm a fan. Dude is one of the greatest. Dude defined a generation of music. Dude has given us classics and and great shit. So I look forward to a return to that. And you know, I'm not one of those people. I think that some people will take it too far. Like, oh, if he's not the number one guy in music, then it's just no fun. It's just this was a great year, and an inspiring year. And in addition to that, hell yeah, I want to see him just like drop some crazy shit. The more hip hop, the better.
Word.
The more great music, the better. That's what I'm rooting for.
Okay.
Yeah, Parks.
Do you have more to say on that?
God bless everybody.
Okay.
Love that.
That's true.
Love that.
Okay, love that. Want to tie up the conversation, just speaking of hip hop generally, on just the general state of hip hop media and also hip hop in general, just tying those two conversations together. We spoke about, you know, earlier on we kind of touched on it, conversation about hip hop not being on the charts anymore and if that's a good or a bad thing. And also the state of hip hop media is a conversation I've heard come up a lot. So while I don't have any specific questions, I'm just opening the ground up to whatever y'all want to say.
I think that the Billboard thing was overblown. It was when Taylor Swift dropped 73 different versions of her album and every single song was on the
76.
chart. Like it's
and they had just changed the current rule.
Yeah,
Shout
what
out to
are
my
we
nigga
doing?
Soundwave.
Yeah, shout out to Soundwave. That's overblown. As far as hip hop media, I think there's a little bit of a restructuring happening when we were locked in the house and everyone got a camera and a Shure microphone. Podcasts and media and streaming and all that shit went crazy, and it was kind of unsustainable. It was too many fish in the pool or whatever, and we're starting to see that slim out. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think there will be a new wave. That's all it is. It's a new wave. It's a formatting. People have to maybe not stop being so reliant on these companies to fund their dreams. Do it yourself. Make some dope shit. It'll work.
I mean, we've seen mass layoffs,
For sure.
especially when it comes to black genres, hip hop, R&B, very recently. And a lot of people have spoken about how that feels like a negative trend for the state of media.
Hip hop media is a reflection of media. It is a part and parcel of the media landscape. And the media landscape is in a volatile state right now. We have to be honest about the fact that there have been mass layoffs, mass consolidations that have forced people out of their jobs.
Political attacks.
Trickle-down persecution of the press in every regard.
Facts.
Funding. Music funding, there's slashes to fundings. Music fans have sometimes healthy and sometimes unhealthy doubt of media and press. I think the average person has a high level of doubts and mistrust when it comes to any type of media, particularly traditional media. And I think that puts trained journalists at a disadvantage because of the conception of what a journalist is, especially in hip hop media. I don't think traditional journalists are truly respected in music media at this time.
Agreed.
And we can tell because we look at who artists choose to speak to. We look at who does and doesn't have a job in music media. We look at what gets platformed in hip hop media, the type of news that gets coverage and the type of news that does not get covered in music media, specifically in hip hop media. We've had landmark lawsuits happen over the past year and change. And the void in coverage from specific publications that are not necessarily equipped to cover these cases is palpable. But it's because traditional journalists who have the skill of reporting, investigative reporting, interviewing skills, even cultural critics with analytical skills are not being hired and not being assigned to do these tasks. And the ones who are assigned are not being heard or respected or listened to by audiences or artists. So I think hip hop media is in a very precarious state, but I think media is in a precarious state. But I also think that leaves room for media to shift and change as it always has from what I have seen. Mark, I'm sure you've seen it shift and change even more. So I'm not necessarily concerned about the future of hip hop media because I do think it'll make its way back to, including the skill sets that are needed for us to talk about these significant cultural moments, for people to document and make sense of these cultural moments. So it's not in a great state, but I still feel something fruitful can come out of it.
Yeah. Look, and it boils down to the audience too, and the audience has to be real with themselves, and that's what they want. We want hip-hop media. We want hip-hop media. The audience also wants to be entertained, and it shows. Look, and wants celebrity, and wants, the fact of the matter is, and it's no shade, it's just where the game is. What journalist has a music podcast that really, maybe Caramonica and the Popcast, but a lot of music journal, a lot of the podcasts, particularly in the hip hop space, are ex-rappers, ex-athletes. A lot of who's getting the video are ex-rappers, ex-athletes, streamers, and because it is very entertaining. Look, man, I'm not speaking down on it, but you see like Shannon Sharp, you know what I'm saying, and Big Star, very entertaining, but even sometimes the way he sets up his questions, it was like, where was the research? Or I've seen other things fumble. Fat Joe, I love Fat Joe, but when Fat Joe sat with Wale and was like, wait, you're African? It was like, dog, where have we been the past, like it's certain things. But Joe and Jada, entertaining as fuck. They throw the flag, Joe gets telling his stories, like you go for it for a different thing. So I say for the audience, like, what do you want? Choose the thing that you want. And you can want two different things. Hey, I want to be entertained, and then today, I want the nuance and I want the context in the conversation. Mm-hmm. I think my job and as a trained journalist is storytelling, context, nuance, and try to be as truthful as possible. And there'll always be space for that, whether it's DIY, whether it's investment from bigger publications and entities. But like EVA said, it's a reflection of, you got the president on his plane calling reporter, like he called her like a little piggy or some shit like that. Like journalism is being disrespected from the very top of our country.
From the top to the bottom, it's being disrespected.
It just is what it is. But I'm very encouraged by this DIY, situation, building our own base, starting, kind of from the ground up. You don't need a big production to build an audience. You just need dedication and hard work and research. So be the change that you want to see.
It is an exciting time, I will say that. And I know audiences want entertainment, but there is a hunger for information.
Yeah.
People want it.
There's also room within these great podcasts to hire professional journalism. So I've just seen it be successful at the Joe Budden podcast.
Yeah, I think what y'all did with Mark Lamont Hill and bringing him on, and shout out to Mark, is somebody who, when the conversation might go left, because you know what, JVP jokes, like kind of, and Mark's, hold on a second, but let's stay right here and let's talk about what's really going on. And there's moments of levity as well, and you have somebody to at least anchor
the
conversation when needed, because Joe can be serious and give you the levity. I've seen you do it. I've seen it's not that, but to have somebody like him on the roster, I think does speak volumes.
And it could even be in production, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be on-air talent. There's room in a bunch of different ways for journalists to be involved in new media, and it should happen.
For me, I would say, like what Rob said, as far as like be the change you want to see. I think what I would love is for there to be more action and less complaining. My mom's name is Jackie, and Jackie didn't raise me to be a complainer. And so, like, I look at the landscape of things, and I see, like, what Rob and Wayno did. We all had a conversation. We was all talking at the same time. Like, I see a lot of people complaining about the state of what is going on, but no one's doing shit to circumvent those things. And so, like, for me, the reason I brought that up is because, like, when people ask me certain things, I'm like, well, Jackie ain't going for that. And that's what I mean by that. I'm talking about my mom, like, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, it was certain things that happened. I think I talked about this with y'all before, parts, like, certain things that I see and I don't like them, so I do something about it. Whereas I look at the landscape of, I don't want to say the new generation or the new way of doing things, because it's always existed. But what I see is a lot of things, entities, brands, people, content creators, journalists, or governing bodies. Trump complains. You're the president of the United States.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Do some policies. You don't have to, so I just think that.
Not him though. Don't do so.
Yeah.
No more of your policies.
But my point is just like, for me specifically, I'll speak for me, fuck him. When it comes to certain things, I got involved in radio because I didn't like how radio was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Same thing with television. I joined the Grammy board. I was one of them thumb thugs. When Dot lost to Macklemore, I was one of them thumb thugs.
Oh,
This
really?
is like, what the fuck? Woo?
Yeah, we needed
But
that.
you don't understand how it works. So how can you in fact change, right? Same thing with radio. People's like complaining about this doesn't get enough burn, this doesn't get enough spin. Well, do you actually understand how the radio works? No. All right, then learn that. Let's have discourse or dialogue about it intellectually, right? Or it's just certain things that I've seen, podcasting, same thing, that not enough people are taking action with the thing that they have a problem with. And that's what I have a problem with.
I love that you said that, because what I love about this new world of media is that I do see people taking action. As far as traditional media is concerned, a lot of traditional outlets have, podcast subsidiaries and audio series and visual series. A lot of journalists who've been fired or who can't get a job now have their own podcast or show.
yeah.
Look at Joy-Ann Reid. She has her own YouTube show now, and that is top tier journalism.
Yeah.
That now you can just watch on her own YouTube channel. And I love that there's, an open playing field for all these different types of media content to be seen, because journalists have no choice at this point but to become independent, because we are in an independent media era. So I love that. I think I see more people just taking initiative to do their own thing.
You know who I seen that from? From Elsie. I mean, just watching reels and
There it is.
TikTok and killing it. You know what I'm saying? And everything is elevation. And so it's not a generational thing. There's young people who want to be journalists and do things in the vein of journalism. It's just they don't have the opportunities, and kudos to the ones like yourself who create opportunities.
I want to
for
say
yourself.
how inspiring it was to see you get just in front of a camera and do what you were doing. I know you started it early last year.
Yeah.
I think for me, that kind of clicked something in my brain, because I was like, this is a journalist that I saw. I remember watching your interview with Kendrick after it dropped to Pimp a Butterfly, and I've gone back to that interview a million times. So just seeing you being able to just prop up your camera and actually just speak, I was like, wow, this actually shows that there's an actual new era for this, and it's really inspiring.
But I learned from people younger than me, because I've had shows at MTV, produced shows. I've had at Amazon, at Genius, produced talk shows that were way more fancy than what I'm doing now. And what I found out is those opportunities were running out. Contracts were running out, not being renewed. Production budgets were getting slashed. Things weren't happening. And I said, well, to Head's point, am I gonna sit here and complain about it? Nobody wants to fund my show. Nobody wants to produce. Or what? Well, what the hell am I doing? And how far am I willing to go? And so, yeah, was buying a camera, was teaching myself, getting Premiere Pro, teaching myself how to do it, seeing what, I was speaking to Parks, the Joe Budden podcast.
Yeah.
I remember when it first started, it was a small room in the studio or Parks' house. We've seen the visual. If you look at all the different sets of JBP, you can see the elevation of what it was.
Sure.
I could complain about it, but what the hell am I doing? So I was actually inspired by young people. I was inspired by just, yo, I got to do it, or I can complain about it. So kudos to you. I'm in there. I took my ego out of it.
It's a new frontier.
Yeah.
There's no ego allowed. You just have to be a continuous student and learn something new. I started out as a writer and then transitioned to broadcast, and now we're in this digital world where we can still do all these things. We can still write. We can still do highly produced segments. We can still report, we can still analyze culture and music, but we can also do it on our own.
Yeah.
And I feel like if people flipped it and looked at it as the cup half full, like you said, and were proactive, I think next year and the next coming years, we're going to see a lot of quality shows from traditional journalists and non-traditional journalists.
For
sure.
Shout out to Gabe too. Gabe P on the radar.
I wanted to
for
say
sure.
that.
They had a great
Shout out
year.
to Gabe. Shout out to Gina Views. I love watching Gina. I love seeing
Gina's
these people
amazing.
come up in this, man.
Can I briefly? I want to give props to journalists, just because I look at that as a real craft and a real trade.
It is.
And I hate that journalism. Like people, like that's. I have a pinned tweet. It's been up for like almost 2 years since I'm a DJ, not a journalist. And it's not because I'm shunning that. And yeah, I do practice journalism through the things that I do, my radio show and whatnot. But I look at journalism as an actual trade. I don't look at it like, oh, I'm just gonna jump into journalism, just as much as you can jump into being a surgeon. It's the same thing to me. It's a trade.
I appreciate you saying that.
It's a craft, and so I respect it as such. And I don't necessarily appreciate everybody just being classified or quantified as a journalist because you have a microphone or a platform or a stream or whatever it is that you have going on. And then the public or the fans treating them or heralding them like they're journalists and treating those as those things as gospel, when in actuality they're not the same thing. And so like I went to school for radio broadcasting. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a certificate for radio broadcasting. So I don't look at it like this. It's a monolith where we all do the same thing. We're all in media, but we're not all journalists. So I just wanted to segregate that and give props to actual real journalists who have leads and have stories and cite sources and do research, etc. That's a trade. That's a craft.
Amen.
Amen, man.
I appreciate that.
Amen.
And shout out to people that support all of it.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not without the people. If y'all don't click on this shit, then
There's no point.
Right.
There's a point, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Buy music, buy subscriptions, buy magazines, buy subscribe to YouTube channels, support the people that you love.
agreed. Thank you, everyone, for just doing this with me. I respect every single one of you and what you've done. And when I heard that you were down to do this show, it was very exciting. So thank you for breaking down this year in music with me. This is Off the Record, Year in Music 2025. See y'all next time.
Good shit, good shit, good shit.